Did you ever notice how some people seem to speak English so fluently, even if they haven't lived in an English speaking country? Yeah, I've noticed that. It's like they've cracked some secret code. I always thought fluency was all about practicing grammar and memorizing vocabulary lists.
That's a big part of it, sure. But I've been reading a lot lately, and there's this concept that really stood out to me: the idea of thinking smart. It's not just about how much you study, but how you approach your learning.
Think smart. You mean like learning strategies?
Exactly. Smart thinking is all about being strategic. It's about using habits, tools, and mindset shifts that help you speak more naturally, more confidently, and with less hesitation.
That sounds really useful. So, what does that look like in practice?
Well, one key habit is learning chunks of language instead of isolated words. Like, instead of just memorizing the word problem, you learn phrases like, I'm having a problem with, or it's not a big problem.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's like learning Lego blocks instead of just collecting bricks.
Right. And it helps you speak faster because your brain doesn't need to build every sentence from scratch. You just pull out a ready made phrase.
I've also noticed that native speakers repeat certain phrases a lot, like, you know what I mean, or kind of. So, learning those gives your speaking a more natural rhythm.
Exactly. Another smart way to improve fluency is by reducing decision fatigue. A lot of people freeze in conversation because they overthink every word.
Totally. I've been in that situation. I start wondering, should I use will or going to? Is this the right preposition? And by the time I decide, the moment has passed.
That's where smart habits come in. You can train yourself to rely on simple default patterns, like if you're not sure, just go with a safe structure. It's better to communicate clearly than perfectly.
So, like, instead of worrying if it's on the weekend or at the weekend, just pick one and keep talking?
Exactly. Most people will understand either way. Fluency is about flow, not perfection.
That's really freeing. I always thought I needed to sound perfect to be fluent.
That's a huge myth. In fact, many fluent speakers still make grammar mistakes, but they speak confidently and they keep the conversation going.
So, confidence is part of thinking smart?
Yes, it's a huge part, and confidence grows with exposure. That's why I always suggest surrounding yourself with English daily through podcasts, YouTube, audiobooks, even social media.
Like immersing yourself?
Exactly. Smart learners don't just study, they live with the language. And the more English you hear in natural contexts, the more patterns your brain picks up.
So you're training your brain to recognize English the same way a child learns their first language?
That's the idea. And here's something else: smart learners use active listening. They don't just hear, they listen with purpose.
How do you do that?
Let's say you're watching a TV show in English. Instead of just enjoying the plot, pay attention to how people greet each other, ask questions, or express opinions. Then pause and repeat the phrases out loud.
Ah, like shadowing.
Exactly. Shadowing helps you match the rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation of native speakers. It's like vocal muscle memory.
That's so cool. I've tried shadowing, but I felt a little silly talking to the screen.
Yeah, it feels weird at first, but it's incredibly effective. The brain loves repetition, and when you speak out loud, you're training your mouth and your memory together.
Okay, so we've talked about chunking, confidence, immersion, and shadowing. What else can smart learners do?
Great question. Another tip is keep it simple. A lot of learners try to use complex sentences too early, but fluency comes from using simple sentences smoothly.
So instead of saying, despite the fact that I was exhausted, I still managed to complete my homework, I could say, I was tired, but I finished my homework.
Exactly. It's clearer, faster, and more natural. Later on, you can build complexity, but fluency starts with mastering the basics.
That makes so much sense. I feel like I've been overcomplicating things for no reason.
We all do. And here's another smart move. Focus on topics you care about. If you love cooking, watch cooking videos in English. If you're into gaming, join English-speaking gaming communities.
So you stay motivated because you're learning through your interests?
Exactly. Passion drives progress. The more you enjoy the content, the more time you'll spend with it, and the more fluent you'll become.
Okay, so what about speaking practice? What if someone doesn't have a native speaker to talk to?
That's a common challenge. But smart learners create opportunities. You can join language exchange apps, online conversation clubs, or even talk to yourself in English.
Wait, talk to yourself?
Yes, it's actually really effective. You can describe what you're doing, reflect on your day, or imagine conversations. It keeps your brain thinking in English.
Wow, I never thought of that. I always wait for real conversations, but I guess they don't happen every day.
Exactly, so you create your own practice. It's like going to the gym. You don't wait for someone to invite you, you just go.
Love that metaphor. So, thinking smart is also about being proactive, right?
Absolutely. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Use what you have, where you are. Even 10 minutes a day adds up.
That's encouraging. Sometimes I feel stuck because I compare myself to others.
We all do. But smart learners focus on their own path. They measure progress by their own improvement, not by someone else's level.
That's so important because progress is personal.
Exactly. And the truth is, every small step counts. If you learned a new phrase today and used it once, that's a win.
So true. Hey, what about mistakes? I always feel bad when I mess up.
Mistakes are essential. In fact, the most fluent learners are the ones who make the most mistakes because they use the language more.
So, failing is part of fluency?
Exactly. You learn what works by trying, failing, and adjusting. Think of mistakes as feedback, not failure.
That really changes how I see learning English.
That's what Think Smart, Speak Fluently is all about. It's a mindset shift from perfection to communication, from fear to confidence.
I love that. So, let's recap. Smart learners use language chunks, practice confidence, simplify their speech, immerse themselves, focus on personal interests, talk out loud, and see mistakes as learning tools.
Perfect summary. If you follow those habits, fluency becomes a natural result of your daily actions.
I feel so inspired now. I can't wait to start applying this.
Me too. Let's remind everyone listening. Fluency isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle. So think smart, speak fluently, and enjoy the journey.